Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm reacting to Do We Have Free Will by Swami Sarvarpiananda. So I know you guys have requested this ever since the Tadatmadanda free will thing. I actually was going to do this first, but I think something came up like about a week or two ago. And ended up scrapping, I ended up putting this on hold and did something else instead. I'm glad we think alike though. Alright, so this is very interesting. I could have sworn I did a reaction to this, but I think I was going to do it and then put it off. But at the same time, I would have thought that the Turiya, the Brahman, would have free will. But according to Swami Tadatmadanda, the Turiya does not have free will. But yet our body and mind does. That is very strange, because if you look at the levels, the body mind is the lesser or gross, lesser, because it's not the true form. It's literally just like a meat suit, some people will say. And I think, and the Turiya true self is actually the driving force behind it, right? Anyways, let's go ahead and hear what Swami has to say here. Do we have free will? I hope he goes a little bit deeper into, is there a separation between the Turiya and your body? There shouldn't be, because Brahman's everything. Okay, CC's on. Gonna be a two-parter.
Om Asato ma sadgamaya Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya Mrityurma amritam gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, lead us from the unreal to the real, lead us from darkness unto light, lead us from death to immortality. Om, peace, peace, peace. A very good morning to all of you. And another beautiful day in Manhattan. Today, we're going to discuss this subject, do we have free will? It's an old question. One reason I selected this subject is, this is a question which has been asked here on numerous occasions. Different people have asked on different occasions, do we have free will? Or sometimes it's put in another way. If everything happens by God's will, then I can do whatever I want then. Why should I be punished for doing something bad? Because God made me do something bad. So this is how it is put. But basically this is the question about free will.
And on that real quick, on the answering comments number 6, I said that I could separate my emotions and my thoughts, but I had a difficult time separating myself from my actions because of my belief in responsibility. And basically meaning that I must take responsibility for my actions. So I cannot, maybe I'm not understanding it right. Just separating myself from my actions means I'm not responsible for my actions. I know there's got to be a Swami Guru out there can explain to me that how to do that, I suppose. And I think I can understand it. Like basically, it's not that you're removing yourself from responsibility, but you're able to detach yourself from your actions just for the purpose of meditation and separation and to get to enlightenment. Probably that. But I guess I want them to kind of explain it a bit better. So that's my understanding of how to separate yourself but not to lose responsibility. But again, with what he was saying there, it's basically saying, it was God's will, so therefore I'm not responsible. And that's the problem that I have, is the fact, no, you cannot use that as an excuse. You are responsible for your actions.
So is there free will? It seems like a question for philosophers, which it is. But in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna, you find a number of occasions, and today we will discuss it. On a number of occasions, is there free will? This question is raised, and Sri Ramakrishna says something. There's a debate between Girish Ghosh and Dr. Mahendranath Sarkar about the existence of free will, and then Sri Ramakrishna participates in that debate. So it's an interesting thing, and it's an ongoing thing, even till today. Articles are being written about it, books are being published about it, scientists have become interested, neuroscience has become interested in this question of free will. So it's a very much a live issue. Is there free will? I'm just reminded of reading this joke somewhere. Sometimes it's very difficult to persuade little children to do what when they're made up their mind not to do something. Every mother knows that. So some mother, very harassed by her little son who was being obstinate, she said, "I don't know if there is free will, but I know that there is a free won't." A little kid. For today's discussion, I am going to draw heavily upon two recent articles. One by the well-known philosopher Professor Arindam Chakravarti, who gave a talk and wrote an article on why pray to a God who can hear the anklets on an ant's feet. He is referring to something in the Gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna said, somebody asked him, does God listen to our prayers? And Sri Ramakrishna said, yes, God can hear the anklets on the feet of an ant. That means God knows everything, basically. Now, Arindam Chakravarti asks this interesting question: if God knows everything, God knows what I want and what I need. So why do I have to pray to such a God? But he starts with that. But basically, the whole article is about free will.
Sorry, and on that subject matter, oops, I somehow muted it. But on that subject matter, also with the Q&A, the answering comments part 6 on the first question, if you're watching this, well, I'm glad you're watching this, I guess, and you haven't unsubscribed already. And this is a thing too. Again, I said, what could God do to prove to me that He is God? And I answered, well, there's probably nothing. Although I will say this, I would assume that God would not be egotistical in the fact that one must believe in Him. I would assume that God, being all powerful, all knowing, and all presence, that He would know how to make me believe Him, or would know how to whatever it needs to be done for me to believe Him, and 2, that maybe He would genuinely want me to be who I am, 100% truthful to who I am, and He will accept me that way. So even if there was a God, He would not have to prove Himself. He could care less if you believe in Him or not. The only thing He'd want you to do is to be 100% truthful to yourself and to be a good person. Those two things should be the number one priority of a God. If a God says that you must believe in me so that I will let you live in eternal bliss, otherwise I'll send you straight to hell, that is not a God I want to believe in. That's an egotistical God, because you must believe Him, and if He's trying to prove Himself to you, that just shows it's kind of like, you look at humans where they buy fancy cars or whatever to show off their power of money or whatever it may be. So again, and this is kind of, I guess, how I reflect. You don't have to show me money, you don't have to show me power, just be truthful, like in the comments below. Be truthful of who you are, so long as you're being genuine and being genuine and honest, then that's all I can ask for. You don't have to be anything else other than just yourself and be truthful. That's it.
Is there free will? What are the arguments against the existence of free will? What are the arguments in favor of existence of free will? Can you combine the two, that there is free will and there is no free will? Can there be a position which combines both? And finally, what do you do actually? What is the practical outcome of all these discussions? So that's one article, very beautiful article I'm going to draw upon. Another one is a very recent article which has not been published yet. So I got special permission to use it. It's written by Ayan Maharaj, who is one of our most brilliant young monks. He is working in our Vivekananda University in Belur. So he has written an article on what is called hard theological determinism and the illusion of free will. Hard theological determinism and the illusion of free will.
Theological determinism, that is God's will. Then maybe is that the one where it says, because I've heard Christians say this, that everything that's happening in Earth, or everything that's happening, is according to God's will. So basically, no matter what you do, you have really no choice because it's going according to God's plan.
So I'll use portions of that article also. Now, we'll quickly look at the arguments against the existence of free will, arguments for the existence of free will, and a third position which seeks to combine both, that there is free will and there is no free will, and both can be combined. It's an interesting position. Before we go into this, one interesting point, this whole question of free will, the way it is put today, has its roots in Christian theology. Actually, when you consider Indian philosophy, there are related questions, but the question is not quite put in this way. There are questions of freedom. There are questions of agentship. Who is a doer? Kartritva. There's a question of freedom. Are we free or not free? But free will, swadhin ichha, in Bengali or Hindi, that is a distinctly, it emerges, its history is in Christian theology. In Christianity, the question arises that why is there evil? Why is there suffering? Why do we suffer? If God is loving and just and all-powerful, why is there suffering in the world? The old question, the question of evil. Every religion has to give some answer. In Indian religions, the answer is pretty simple. Because of our past karma. We suffer because of our past karma. God is not to blame for our suffering. We are to blame for our own suffering because of our past karma. So the law of karma is invoked in Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, Sikhism, in all Indian religions. But that works only if you accept many lives. That's why automatically the law of karma is linked with many lives. Past lives and future lives. So birth and rebirth, the theory of reincarnation.
I do wonder if he would talk about the fact that I think it was Sadhguru, or is this Sadhguru? I can't quite remember who it is, but it might be Swami here. That once it was Swami, in fact, he said this. So why am I asking? But anyways, let me bring it up just in case you didn't watch that video. I do believe he said the fact that karma continues on in the body forever and indefinitely. There's no way to remove yourself from karma. It's always going. But once you come to realization, once you're able to separate yourself from the body, your actions, your thoughts, your actions, and your body, even though karma still exists in there, you didn't remove it. You yourself are removed from suffering, but the body and karma continues on in the material world. I do believe that's what it said. You can let me know if I remember that correctly, and I think it was in fact that, which made sense to me, that the karma is not just disappears or anything like that. It continues on, even though I guess I can understand both, and both can make sense, because you continue, this karma is uniquely yours, and once you've become enlightened, that karma ends and it's gone. And at the same time, it kind of makes sense that this karma never truly affected you, because you're Turiya, you're Brahman, you're the pure consciousness. You were never affected by it in the first place. You just had the illusion that you're affected by it, and yet you believed in it so much that you continue to be rebirthed into this life with the karma that you have. Once you come to realization, you are separated from that karma, and this karma continues on, but you've realized, so you no longer are bound by that karma. So those two make sense to me. Both can't be true, I don't believe. One must be true, and I'm wondering which one it is.
Punarjanma. But in Christianity you don't have that. So this birth is the first one and the last one. So then why is it that some people suffer so much? Say a baby is born in a society which is poor and starves and is prone to disease. Another baby is born in a society which is affluent, and the baby is loved and taken care of. Where is the baby's fault? There's no past karma, because there's the first birth. So is God responsible? Now, God has to be protected from responsibility, because otherwise God will be blamed for being partial, taking care of some and discriminating against others. But God cannot do that. God loves everybody. So there is a branch of Christian theology called theodicy. Theodicy is justifying the ways of God to man. So one way they have understood this is, God has given us the gift of free will. And because we misuse free will, we suffer. If we freely commit sins, we go against God's commandments, and therefore the result is we suffer. You might say, wait a minute. You just gave the example of a baby. The baby has not yet started using free will. So why should one baby suffer and another baby not suffer? This idea is extended back not only because of our misuse of free will, but the theologian will tell you, the first man, Adam, misused his free will against the commandments of God, ate the fruit of the tree of knowledge in the Garden of Eden, and therefore committed the original sin, and as a result of which all of humanity has to suffer. So basically, some way or the other, you might not be satisfied with this, it might be stretching things too much, but the idea is, we have free will, we misuse free will, and therefore we suffer. If you do not misuse free will, then we will not suffer. This is the basic idea. And so the importance of free will started from that point in Western thought. Why I'm saying this is, later on when we shall see Sri Ramakrishna discussing free will, he says, when the question is raised, is there free will? He says, where did you find this? In some English book? You see, he's so sensitive to it, he notices an alien component in the question itself. Similar questions are there in Indian philosophy: freedom, agentship. But in this form, do we have swadhinicha, free will? Particularly in this form, it was not there in ancient Indian philosophy. Anyhow, now let's look at the arguments against free will. See, to begin with, we do feel that we have free will. Nobody doubts this. We get a feeling. Whether I will raise my hand now or not, it's my choice. I can freely decide to raise my hand or not to raise my hand. Let me see. Okay, I've decided. Now I feel that I did it freely. Let's examine this thing, that did I do it freely or not? There are arguments to show that no, this little action is not free. What are the arguments against it? What are the arguments against the existence of free will? Though we feel it, but these arguments will go to show that actually it is not there. We are mistaken when we think that we have free will. So what are the arguments? The first one is a metaphysical argument. This is the most direct and powerful argument. It is called the deterministic argument. It says that every human action is an event in time. Correct? This was an event in time. Every event in time in this universe, every event in time is preceded by a cause. Everything has a cause. Everything that has a cause is strictly causally linked. Cause and effect are linked. If the cause is there, then the effect must come. It cannot be otherwise. So if it is causally linked, it is causally determined, it could not have been otherwise. But the very essence of freedom is, it could be this way, it could be that way, it could be some other way. I can raise my hand, can raise the right hand, I can raise the left hand, I may not raise the hand. I feel that way. But this argument from causal determinism says that you only feel that, but the causes have already been set in motion. So a cause leads to an effect. And that when the cause exists, before you do anything, the cause is already existing. Only thing is, we do not know the cause. We may not know the cause. It may be something in my brain or somewhere. We may not know the cause, but the cause definitely does exist. Because every event in time is preceded by other events in time, which are some of them are causally linked to this event in time. If it is a part of a chain of cause and effect, then it is strictly determined. And you cannot say that it could have been this way or that way. No, it has to be that particular way. You only felt that you freely decided to raise your hand, but actually that's not so. There was some cause which made you raise your hand. So is that clear? That is the metaphysical argument. From causation, every act that we do is an event in time. Every event in time is preceded by its other events, which are causes. Some of them, we may not know the cause of a particular thing which we do, but the cause is certainly there. And if the cause is there, cause and effect are strictly linked. If that cause is there, this effect must come. Just as it is in the world outside, so it is for our own actions. Hence, there is really no such thing as free will, even if you feel that you have free will. Argument 1.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that, and the examples that I normally gave with the free will argument or the deterministic argument was you're boiling water and the stove with a pot, and you try to, because it's boiling, you grab it and you try to move it out, but then it's hot, so you let go. So again, the reason why you remove the boiling water was because it's boiling, so you want to remove. There's a cause and effect there. The reason why you drop the water because it's hot, so there's a cause and effect there. And the argument for free will was the fact that you would normally drop it as self-preservation, so that's a natural instinct, a cause and effect. But if there's a child or someone or something important down there that you don't want to drop boiling water on, then you won't just drop the pot. You would actually try to potentially move it away. Some people will still probably drop the pot, but most people, generally speaking, if they can catch it in time, they won't just let go. They'll hold on and move it further away and suffer more for the pain. But I was thinking that as free will, but then you can still look at it as deterministic as well, because the cause of you not dropping it was there's something or a child underneath it or someone underneath it. So you, instead of saying you're going to let go, you're caused to let go because it's hot. Your cause now is to not let go because there's someone or something down there, and you decide to move it. Why did you move it? Because you can't drop it here, so you want to drop it somewhere else. It's all deterministic, and you can trace back all your actions to a previous actions that you did before. Why did you want to boil that water? Maybe because you wanted hot water. Why did you want hot water? Because you wanted some tea. Why did you want some tea? It's because you got thirsty. Why did you get thirsty? It's because you ate something. Why did you eat something? Because you were hungry. Why were you hungry? Because you were running. Why were you running? Because you wanted to exercise. Why did you exercise? Because maybe you're a little overweight. Why are you overweight? Because you ate. You can keep going back and back and back and trace back all your actions to things that you've done. But I choose to believe, hint there, keyword there, choose to believe we are both deterministic and free will, like I think the next party is going to argue for.
The second argument is an argument from religion.
Not this one.
The argument is this.
The combination.
It's an argument from God's omniscience. It's a theistic argument. The argument goes like this, that freedom means next moment what I'm going to do, I will decide whether to raise my hand or not. What I'm going to do right now, I cannot tell you. I will decide later on. You also cannot tell. Nobody can tell. That's the essence of freedom. That if you already know what's going to happen, then it's not free. So I don't know. I will decide now. If I know already, then my decision is already taken. It's not a free decision. In that case, nobody knows what's going to happen next, what action I will take. Then my action is free. But if God exists, one of the qualities of God is omniscience, sarvagya. Every religion which believes in God believes that God knows everything. If God knows everything, then God knows what decision I will take next, whether I will raise my hand or not. If God knows what decision I will take, then truly my decision is not free. Already somewhere somebody knows that I'm going to do this or that. Then in what sense is it free? I don't know, but God already knows what I'm going to decide. So the essence of freedom, that we cannot say what's going to happen, what I'm going to do next, that is not there. God can say, you're going to do this. So from God's omniscience, and it need not be God. Suppose there's a religion which does not believe in God, say Buddhism, but they will say that Buddha is omniscient. At least some versions of Buddhism say that. So Buddha will know. In that case, if it is already known what decision I will take, that decision cannot be, in some ultimate sense, it's not free. It's already known. That argument you get from God's knowledge, from the omniscience of God. Hence, there is no free will. If you believe in God, then there is no free will.
And the argument I like to, as an example, I like to show for this one, it's like a VHS tape or a DVD or digital. You know, when you watch a movie and you play it and you watch it, like it's your favorite movie, you watch it many, many, many times. You can rehearse the entire movie without watching it. And then when you watch it with someone new who's never seen it, you're like, oh, he's going to do this, he's going to do that, he's going to do this. Oh, watch this part because he's going to do this. And the person that's watching it with you, assuming he's not like, oh, you're spoiling it for me. He's like, how do you know all of this? Are you God? It's like, no, I watched this movie many times. Everything's already played out. I know what's going to happen. To someone who doesn't know what's going to happen, that's remarkable. To someone who's watched a movie many times, is very knowledgeable what's going to happen next. So a movie has no free will because everything's already been laid out. It's just the characters in the movie don't know what's next. The characters in the movie, not the actors or actresses. The characters in the movie don't know what's next, but the script and everything's already laid out for them. And the person who's watched the movie already knows what's going to happen next, but the characters in the movie don't. So that's my example of God and no free will. Everything's played like a VHS or a tape or a DVD, digital. You know, I don't know what to call it nowadays. People still call it DVDs or VHS.
Third is an argument from the law of karma. Law of karma is accepted by all Hindus, by all Buddhists, Jains, Sikhs. All the Indian religions accept some version of the law of karma. One Swami, he said, in Hinduism itself, so many varieties are there. There are Hindus who do not believe in God. There are Hindus who believe in God. There are Hindus who believe in the male form of God or the female forms of God or beyond male and female. In so many different ideas we have got about God, about the soul, about liberation, about sadhana, so many enormous range of variation in Hinduism, vast range of ideas, of beliefs and practices. But that Swami said, one thing that all Hindus believe in, law of karma and reincarnation. So he said in Hindi, ye badi gambhir tattva hai. This is a very profound doctrine. Don't treat it lightly. God you can treat lightly. And there are some Hindus who do not believe in God. Buddhists don't believe in God. Jains also don't believe in God in that sense. So, but law of karma, everybody believes in that. So what is law of karma? Our past actions give rise to effects. Now, in a very strict sense, if you interpret the law of karma, then every event that happens in my life, whether physical or mental, is the result of my past karma. So things are happening in my life, in my body, in my actions, in my speech, in my thought, and they are caused by my past karma. All Hindus may not believe in such a strict interpretation of law of karma, but suppose you believe in this. In that case, my decision to raise my hand, your decision to come to Vedanta Society today, you think it is freely chosen, but that decision is also a mental event. And that mental event has been caused by some past karma in this life or past lives. In that case, it is strictly determined. That result had to come. That thought had to come. That desire had to come in my mind. And then I had to act on that desire. How is it free? How is it free? If you believe in a strict version of the law of karma, then you must admit even my thoughts, desires, decisions are also the result of past karma. I personally don't believe in such a strict version of the law of karma. I believe certain tendencies are generated by our past karmas. But anyhow, suppose you believe in this. In that case, our decisions are also influenced by past karma. Mental acts are also influenced by, mental events are also influenced by past karma. From the law of karma, in this strict interpretation if you take, then there is no freedom. You can see this is a variation of that first argument, causality, cause and effect. The fourth argument is a modern form of the law of karma. We don't appeal to law of karma, but it's called the argument from psychological determinism. Psychological determinism. It says something very much like the law of karma. Mental acts are also events. Like physical acts, physical events have causes, so mental events also have causes. And so the causes will determine. It may be environmental causes, it may be genetic causes, it may be psychological causes, but they will determine my decisions. So my decisions which I take now are not really free. They are determined by past factors. The factors may be nature or nurture. Nature is my genetics, my genetic makeup. I'm compelled. I don't think I'm compelled, but I'm compelled by my genes or by my upbringing or by my society or by environmental factors. I'm compelled to act in a particular way, though I think it is my free choice, but it is not.
I will say, so far, out of all the explanations besides the religion one, it's all, well, it would have to be, I suppose, but all is deterministic based on past events, whether it be karma, your past lives, or your upbringing, your nature and nurture, or things in the past, or things of the past and nature and nurture. Religion is all based on God. Everything that has occurred is always it's all already pre-laid out, so there's no based on the past kind of situation. It's all literally, again, if you stretch out a VHS tape, you can look at an entire history of mankind, all the things in the past and all the things that's yet to come. It's all laid out in front of you. But outside of religion, all of it's all deterministic of the past events, whether it be nature or nurture or both.
So that is an argument from psychological determinism. Again, you can see it is just a variation of like the law of karma. 4 arguments I've gone through. The last one, which I've kept for the last on purpose, is a strange argument. But it's very interesting. It's a very different kind of argument. It's an argument from logic and language. It's called a logico-semantic argument. It goes like this. Any statement, a proposition, is true or false. And if it is true, you cannot make it false. If it is false, you cannot make it true. For example, if I say George Washington was the first president of the United States, it's true. There's no way you can make it false. It's done. It's a fixed fact in the past. You can't change it. It's true and it cannot be made false. If I say now present, in the present, I'll say something about something that is refers to the present. Central Park is in New Jersey. Suppose I say that. Central Park, right here. Suppose I say Central Park is in New Jersey. You'll say it's false. It's a false statement. No way you can make it true. It's not true. Right now, the fact is that Central Park is right here in the middle of Manhattan. It's not in New Jersey. So if I say it's in New Jersey, it's a false statement. And it cannot be made true. So no, suppose we shift Central Park to New Jersey. Well, that's in the future if you do that. But right now it cannot be made true. Right now the fact is it is in Manhattan. So a statement about the present is, if it is false, it cannot be made true. If it is true, it cannot be made false. Now the interesting thing is a statement about the future. Suppose Elon Musk says that we are going to Mars. I think he has sent his convertible Tesla car to space. That may be going to Mars, but he's predicting that we are going to go to Mars. Okay, now let me make a statement. Human beings will be in Mars in 2050. Plenty of time, 2050. Now, here is the crucial thing to get. That statement is already true or false. We don't know yet.
Already.
In 2050, people will be able to say, true, human beings are on Mars, it's true. Or people will be able to say, it's false, human beings are not in Mars. But the fact, something will happen. Either we will be in Mars or we will not be in Mars. One of the two. And so that thing in 2050, one will be able to say. But right now we cannot say. It has not happened yet. But the statement is already true or false. This is the crucial argument.
Wow, already. I was questioning, what do you mean already? I would have stated it neither true nor false because it's unknown. but already true or false. That's a very odd way. I get what he's saying, but it's very odd. I mean, I think my statement is also true. It's neither true nor false because it's not 2050 yet, so we cannot make a deterministic argument on it. We cannot say it is true and we cannot say it is false because we have to wait until that time comes, and then at that point we can say that whether it is true or it is false. It's roughly the same, I think, but to say it's already true or false means that it's already happened, right? Yeah, that already happened. So it's a really weird wording. I wonder if that's proper wording. Already true or false. Because it's like, you know, it's already means it's already ready, right? Or am I getting the definition of already wrong? Again, words do matter, but at the same time, I can understand if it's a mistake in words. But if he really means it that way, I really have to understand why. So I'm not saying it's wrong nor right, but I wanna make sure that if he's saying it that is true, then that's a very odd way to say it. Already true or false.
Human beings will be in Mars, future tense, in 2050. Right now the statement is true or false. We can't say which one, it's true or false. If it is already true or false, then there is no freedom in it. I told you it is a strange argument.
Yeah, indeed.
It's an argument from the fact of language and logic. So it's called a logico-semantic argument. All statements like this are already either true or false. So a statement like, you can make a statement, Swami is going to raise his hand now.
Okay, so he did mean to say that.
It will be true or it will be false, later we will see. But the moment you said it, it's already true or false. Here. So if you said that he is going to raise his hands, that statement was true and now we know it's true. How is this, where is the freedom in this?
I think I get what he's saying now. It's the sheer fact that when the wordage is what matters a lot. He says semantic, which in computer science, that's how computer interprets the words that you write down in it. And semantics matters a lot. It matters a lot too in language, and that's what I was talking about. Semantics matter. For some odd reason, I didn't quite click that he said semantics. So let's rewind a little bit here. True or false? Called a logical semantic argument. So by saying already true or false, that's being deterministic. You can say what I said, which is neither true nor false, and that makes it non-deterministic because it is not true nor is it false. We're still waiting for something to happen, and when it does happen, it becomes true or false. Whereas this one, he's saying that it is true or it is false. So it means you only have, technically you only have two options on both, but one is affirming an action will occur, and the other one is waiting for the action to occur. When I think about it, they both sound the same. That's interesting, actually, a really interesting argument, actually. Raising hand now, it'll be true. I don't want to keep thinking too much.
Or it will be false, later we will see. But the moment you said it, it's already true or false. Here. So if you said that he is going to raise his hands, that statement was true and now we know it's true. How is this, where is the freedom in this? If the truth or falsity of each statement is already there, just unknown, then from a linguistic point of view, from a truth value point of view, there is no freedom.
Well, he ain't wrong about that one. That is interesting. But again, it is the already being the very key word there. It's the fact that it's already determining a 50-50 split. But this is kind of like, this is just briefly thinking about it. This is like taking a test when you have 4 choices. One of them is already right, the rest is already false. But if you do a fill in the blank, then that becomes not, there's one right answer and there's many wrong answers. So there's where you get the free will. When it's a fill in the blank, there is only one right answer, but there are an infinite number of wrong answers. 1 plus 1 equals A1, B2, 3, C3, and D11. That one is already deterministic because you're limited by the options that you have. But if you say 1 plus 1 equals blank, then there's only one right answer, 11 obviously, and 1 is wrong, the letter A is wrong, the word has is wrong, Brian, the name Brian is wrong, dog is wrong, cat is wrong, and X is wrong, multiplication symbol is wrong, the division symbol is wrong. There's an infinite number of incorrect answers, and there where you can see the syntax, or the syntax of the question whenever you make such a finite choice versus an infinite. Fill in the blank versus a limited A, B, and C, and D.
I don't know if I convinced you either way, this way or that way, whether there's freedom or not. But these are the major arguments against religious and philosophical arguments against freedom. Not only that, the argument from the psychological determinism, that our thoughts are caused by events already. We are not causing, really taking a decision. Decisions are already taken because of past events, mental or physical events. Benjamin Libet, in the 1980s, the British neuroscientist, he did this very experiment, and the results were very alarming. What was the experiment? He asked the subject, you can raise your hand or you decide not to raise your hand, and he hooked up the subject to a simple EEG machine. And to his amazement, he found, and he told the subject, you decide, raise the hand or not raise the hand. And also, when you decide, at that moment you also record that I have decided. I'm going to raise the hand. Next, raise the hand. So it'll be a split second difference. I decide I'm going to raise the hand. Now I raise the hand. Split second. But record the fact that you have decided to raise the hand. And the EEG machine, you know what it recorded? It recorded brain activity starting well before the person said that I have decided. When the person is feeling I have decided now to raise the hand or not to raise the hand, well before that, Libet could see the spikes coming from the EEG machine recording the activity in the brain. Now that was a simple experimental setup. Now it has been repeated with much more sophisticated machines, MRI machines. I saw a documentary, BBC documentary, quite alarming. Same thing, the person is lying in an MRI machine and is given 2 buttons, the red button, blue button, something like that. You decide which one to press, and the moment you decide, you let us know. Just click a button. Not when you press. First you let us know when you have decided. Before he presses, already the readouts on the computer screens show that there are activity in certain parts of the brain, and the medical technicians, the researchers who were scanning the brain, in time they were able to predict, now he's going to press the right button. Now he's going to press the left button. He's going to decide to press the right button. Imagine. He's going to decide this. They're predicting by seeing his brain activity, which means brain activity started, the decision was taken in some sense by the brain before the conscious individual felt that I am deciding. That means the decision taken by me, I'm going to raise the hand, it's just a byproduct, an epiphenomenon of brain which has, in an unconscious fashion, at the level of neuronal activity, already taken the decision.
I wonder about that though. So I think this is my theory on this. I definitely want to watch that though. That's very interesting. That the brain knows before the person says it. I'm just wondering if it's if there's just a delay. like obviously our we have synapses and electrons that are firing, and I'm wondering if it's like blue, red, blue, red, blue, red, blue, blue. That delay there that your brain decides and then sends out the signal to your mouth to say blue is what they're doing. Again, I don't know. I don't know the study, but that's just, I'm wondering if that's the case. Or is what he said earlier. I thought he said like you think what you want to decide, then you click right away. You don't have to say just do it right immediately. So there's no delay with you saying blue, click. Just click, you know. And I'm wondering if that recording time is just a delay between your brain deciding and then that signal being sent out. And this is what I'm talking about also again in the answering comment 6, the first question, where the MRI people was able to read the brain, what they're gonna do, what the person determines to do. And then this is what I'm talking about. Like I like we are biological computers. And I think we can get to the point where we can, I just don't know, we can get to the point where we can start reading people's brains. Obviously there had to be an MRI machine for this one, but everything, all technology tends to shrink down and become more efficient. So eventually you probably have a small microcomputer in your brain so that if you have any health issues, they can just hook it up and then they can scan your brain that way instead of being in a big gigantic machine or whatever. But yes, like I was saying, what was I saying? But anyways, but yeah, you can eventually read people's brains. You can even influence probably people's brains by throwing certain chemicals and blocking certain chemicals. Like I said in answering questions number 6 as well, I remember going to a psychology class. If I remember correctly, they did this to a rat, and what they did is they sent a signal to a rat's brain, and the rat literally ate itself to death. It didn't eat itself. It just kept on eating and eating and eating, because the signal that it kept sending was the fact that says hungry, 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 just to see if they got it right. And the rat just ate and ate and ate until it died, until its stomach burst. It's terrible stuff. Again, that's the reason why I don't think scientists will be able to find where your consciousness is necessarily, because the crazy and terrible things that scientists will have to do with the technologies they have that are very limited. But perhaps in the future, when MRI scanners or CAT scans or whatever scanners there may be able to find and pinpoint, like this one's very odd, it lights up all the time you're thinking. As a matter of fact, it did it with Sadhguru, where Sadhguru meditated and the scientists thought he was dead because it didn't pick up any brain waves. Some people have said it was like delta waves maybe that they weren't picking up, but it's not to say that all the other waves are missing. But yeah, anyways, continue.
Which means our brains are doing the activity at taking decisions, and the activity is also executed by the brains. We are like this guy sitting on top here thinking, I decide now. Already decided. And brain is giving us the decision. Here, say this, that I have decided this. It's like this man who was riding on a horse, galloping through the village, very serious looking and fast, galloping fast through the village. And somebody asked him, "Sir, where are you going?" And the man looked back, "I don't know, ask the horse." Our condition is like that. Benjamin Libet said that. We think we are in charge of the horse here. No, we are not. The horse is going in a particular way. Modern neuroscience is saying that there is no free will. There is an illusion of free will. You feel that you're free will, but the body has already decided. Brain, nervous system has already taken the decision. You are not taking decisions. Of course, questions have been raised about this experiment, but it's quite a shocking experiment. If you see the BBC, if you see it on YouTube, if you see the documentary, actually, it's quite alarming. The presenter, the one who is narrating this thing, after the experiment, he goes and sits outside the brain science center on the stairs, and he puts his head in his hand, saying, like, then it's profoundly disturbing. I'm not in charge of anything in my life then. Amazingly, in the Bhagavad Gita, there is one thing that Krishna says again and again, 3 times. He says exactly this: all decisions are taken by nature. The conscious individual, Jiva, is fooled into thinking that I am the doer. In chapter 3, verse 27, in chapter 13, verse 29, in chapter 14, verse 19, same message. Prakrityeva karmani kriyamanani sarvasha. Prakriti alone does all work. Prakriti means nature. How does it do all work? Through the body, brain, nervous system, our whole biological instrument, through the prana. Prakriti does all work. Ahankara vimodatma, deluded by the action of the ego, the jiva thinks kartaham iti manyate, thinks that I am the doer. The ignorant person attached with the ego is attached with the body and mind, and it gets the delusion that I am doing. Then who is the intelligent person? Prakrityeva karmani kriyamanani sarvasha yapashyati tathatmanam akartaram sapashyati. Who realizes this and sees oneself as the witness of the actions of the body and the mind, that person really sees that the conscious self is akarta, non-doer.
Boy, if the scientific truth to that is still true to this day and it has not been disproven, that is quite amazing from the Hindu Advaita Vedanta, where the Turiya is the witness of the action and doer. And if the, oh my gosh, wow, that's quite a link there. That is quite a link to say that nature is doing by body, you're just merely witnessing the action, and then scientists to confirm that your mind has made up the decision. The mind's just telling you, here, read this. Here's your decision. That's, I definitely gotta watch that though. I have to watch. I have to experience that. That's why I'm not just gonna believe. I am going to watch that documentary. That's crazy.
In the 14th chapter, it says, Nanya gunebhya kartaram yada prashyati yada drashtanu pashyati. When the witness, when you see through the eye of discrimination, through viveka, that I am not the doer, the gunas of Prakriti transformed into the organs, into the brain and nervous system, they alone are the doer. Then alone you realize that you are the witness self. You are the non-act, you are the non-agent consciousness. So madbhavam adhigacchati. That person becomes fit for saying, Aham Brahmasmi, I am one with the universal consciousness, with the one consciousness at the back of this entire game of Maya. The same thing which Benjamin Libet today says in the late 20th century.
Real quick, gonna take a quick picture of that, sorry, because I need to get that name down. And it's a lot easier to take a picture than write it down.
And today,
it'll last longer.
All the latest experiments are just reconfirming what Libet found. You find in the Bhagavad Gita thousands of years ago, repeated 3 times. Many of you look disturbed. Well, if you believe in free will and you would like to have arguments in favor of free will, let's have some arguments in favor of free will. Just the opposite.
Yes, that's what I want to do. I don't want to believe him. I want to argue against it. I want to destroy that argument, but I just don't know how yet. Because right now it is so compelling. I'm like, no, there has to be free will. I will find a way to destroy some argument of that. But my God, that does sound like earlier in this. I was so compelling about the fact that you can trace back basically all your actions to previous actions. Why are you tired? I was exercising, or I was working. Why were you working? I need money. Why do you need money? I have to pay the rent. Why do you have rent? Because I bought a house. Why did you buy a house? Because I needed a place to live. Why did you need a place to live? Because I didn't have a place to live. You know, you can trace a lot of things back by past actions, which goes with laws of karma. Not really actually, but kind of. Because it's based on stuff in the past.
Let's have some arguments in for free will.
Okay, actually, we're going to pause it right there. Just because we're going in the 1 hour marker. So right now, I will say there's extreme compelling argument. Again, I've heard some of this argument much earlier when I watch a lot of YouTube. I still do watch a lot of YouTube, but in the past, before this YouTube channel, it was very compelling for both pro and against free will. And the deterministic method, the deterministic method, whatever it was very compelling. I'm like, no, I don't want to believe necessarily that we're completely deterministic, but I do agree to some degree that we tend to base our actions on previous actions. Your favorite food, you tasted this, was like, oh my gosh, it's amazing. So whenever that favorite food comes up, you're practically determined to pick that food again. We have favorite food, favorite drinks. Whenever you go to a bar, or go to whatever favorite drink shop you go to, you're gonna more than likely get the same drink, the same food. That's deterministic. Like actually, but yeah, and just you can see a lot of things that you do on a day-by-day basis that are kind of deterministic. Anyways, that's the end of part 1. Do we have free will? By Swami. And if you like my content, please consider subscribing. Thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.